is the Deluxe 18-inch motion-activated Part 7, The New Blood NECA Jason out of the box. God, that was a bit of a tongue twist, wasn't it? And, yeah, I think this is an absolutely amazing figure, but one thing is it was an absolute nightmare to unbox, because, I mean, I don't know if you saw in the first time-lapse clip, but, I found it really hard to just remove him out of the box manually, so I found the best way to do it was to tip the box upside down and kind of try pull it out that way, and it did work, and thankfully nothing was damaged at all, so, you know, that's a good thing. But there were so many little twisty things and like all of these sellotape things, so you had to untape them, then undo the twisty things, and then kind of thread them through a hole, which would then have to be thread through another hole, and then you could remove that little wire, and vice versa. It's not worth me telling a little life story about how I unboxed it. This figure is absolutely phenomenal, because all of the detail on here is absolutely incredible, especially for the time that this was released, because other toy companies, such as McFarlane, that's it, other toy companies such as McFarlane Toys were releasing the same sort of toys with not that much detail. Like, they were releasing the same line of figures, but they just didn't really hold up well. Like, their Part 7/Part 9 Jason, it had a partly removable mask, but the mask was super glued on to the face for some reason, which doesn't make much sense, and unmasking it, But yeah, this figure is absolutely amazing. So how about we go in and take a look at some of the features on this guy. Taking a look at the Part 7 Jason, we can see that straight off the bat, he has an awful lot of damage, which is absolutely perfect. I think they've nailed the way that all the damage is captured, and yes, I'm using this as a pointer, because over here you can like all see the ribs where it's kind of being exposed from being underwater, and maybe some like little parasites have come and nibbled away at it, and you can see his shirt from Part 6 and the other previous Friday the 13th, like Part 4 and 3 and such. It's been horrifically damaged. There's now massive tears in the shirt where probably some stab wounds would be. The water's gone to it, and it's just absolutely devastated the shirt, and that looks fantastic. And even the little flesh in between. Look, let me just try zoom in so you guys can see it. But if we put him onto the side, you can see there they've even gone into detail on just his skin, and same with the bones. You can see all these like little lines there, like actual bone marrow and such. And on the skin, it's all horrible. There's all creases and lumps where you can see it's all rotting and decaying, and it's nasty stuff. Not very nice. Perfect for a Friday the 13th figure. And coming onto the shirt itself, it's actually a more sort of rubbery sort of fat sort of material, as you can see here, like quite bendy. It's all one piece, but coming onto the arms, this is all sculpted plastic, as you can see. Not much movement there, which is fine because it's not meant to be rubber. But yeah, going down onto the legs, it's the same thing as with the shirt. It's this all horrible kind of dark green where, you know, it's been in the water for so long that mold's just gone to it, and it's just horrible. And what's really nice too is that here at his kneecaps you can see it's especially come away where he's maybe had some falls and such in film, and then water's just gone into that and completely devastated it. And as his skin's kind of rotting and decaying, you can see the bones sticking out, which I think is a really, really nice touch. And they've done it so bloody well. Like, I don't know how, but they must have absolutely nailed it. Same with on this knee. The knee sort of part of the trousers have been devastated, and kneecaps popping out now. Not very nice. And another touch that I really like is it's very well captured here on camera, but everything has almost sort of gloss to it, like this sort of wet, watery look, which was seen throughout the film, because he does kind of rise out of the water, and that's the whole point. That's why he has the chain around his neck here, because he was chained to the bottom of the lake at the end of Part 6. Then that psychic girl snapped the chain and brought him back to life, stupidly. And yeah, basically she was a bit of an idiot. But yeah, coming down onto his boots, you know, just sort of standard. They've got the laces on, been sculpted really well, and they've there's almost seems to be a lot more detail than you get here with your standard scale for the 13th figures. The little laces there have been painted in silver, and I don't know if you can see that, but on the sort of tip of the shoe there's a slight brown sort of dry brush, which is really nice, almost like adds to the sort of scuffed effect, which I think is a really nice touch. And same as on the bottom of the trousers, there's all brown stuff. I don't know if that's meant to be dried blood or, well, a bit of, I don't know, skin or something, like some sort of bodily fluid, or just dirt from where he's been marching through the mud. Just coming on back onto the rubber materials, you can see that his hands are actually that same sort of material. As you can see here, quite flexible and such. There's not much, I don't know if there's any movement in them, but I'm quite precarious to do so because I don't want to break it or anything. Moving on the hands, they're done absolutely amazingly too. They've got this hot, kind of gone off yellow look to them, where of course it's the same garden gloves that Jason wore in part 6, except they're now just absolutely in terrible condition. Like, you can see his fingers are coming through at some parts. The kind of palm of it's been ripped open, and you can see bones exposed and veins, and it's almost like the gloves have become really threadbare, and you can see where his decaying kind of flesh is now ripping to the bone. Not a very nice sight to see, but still amazingly sculpted. And I don't know, same with here, you can see that it's all shriveled and basically everywhere, continuing over on here and also onto his head, where you can see a bit of the teeth being exposed. You can see that the skin's become all shriveled and kind of almost sort of dried up in a certain sense, where decomposition is setting in, and you know, he's somehow living through it. But yeah, the arms have been sculpted amazingly with the consistent amount of damage kind of coming through again, where his sleeves weren't rolled up, you know, that's kind of been nibbled off by, I don't know, maybe fish or parasites or something trying to get to the flesh while he's been underwater until the lake, and you can see where it's just been ripped up, by, almost like he's been attacked by some sort of animal, and, you know, of course, not a very nice sight to see, but it still looks absolutely amazing in figure form. Oh my god, see, just that shot there, that really does capture the attention to detail that they put onto these figures, especially onto these larger scale ones, and I guess that's kind of what I'd expect from these ones, because with bigger figures then they have more space to fit more detail, unlike with the smaller ones. Also, I should note that this is my first large figure, and I'm really, really happy with it. Ugh. Really is heavy. Flipping it onto the backside, you can see the same amount of damage in the arms, in the back, and there's the speaker hole. Not really too bothered about that, because, you know, they've got to put the speakers somewhere. There's where your batteries go, though I don't know what sort of batteries this Jason relies on. I just know that it came with batteries included, which is a really cool thing, and we'll be having a look at the sound feature towards the end of this video. Here you can see where more kind of decay has happened, and his spinal cord has come through, and it's like, you can see even like the shoulder plates as well, and it's just all gnarly and horrible and disgusting, but it's just amazing because, you know, you never knew that they could capture this much detail on a figure, and it is so damn cool. And honestly, I'm so lucky to have this. Yeah, and anyway, back with the review, you can see the kind of amount of damage and decay. It's coming down here, almost where it's like ripping the shirt up at its seams, and there's almost, like you can see here, there's not that much material left before this bit just comes off. It's almost like this kind of his attire in this film is almost matching his kind of self, really, just decaying and withering away over time, but still nevertheless holding up and, you know, being absolutely terrifying. Ooh, trying to get that out from under the neck. Another feature I really like about this figure is the chains. as you can see, they are movable, they can wiggle, yes, and I love how they've made it so that they look almost rustic, because you can see there at the link, this is that sort of brown, like tarnished or tattered look, and same as on the chains, you can see it's black, but it's they've really nicely captured the speckles of rust as it kind of comes along. That almost looks genuinely lifelike. So say if you were to go to a harbour or something and then you'd see a bunch of chains by the boat, you'd expect them to look just like this, you know, maybe painted black, but rust kind of, you know, attacking it at the seams and such. But now onto one of the coolest features of this figure, the mask slash the unmasking. Coming onto the side of Jason's face, you can see where the machete mark from part 4 is, and where the axe mark is from the third film, and you can see how, over time, certain events really haven't helped that, and the scars have almost sort of grown in length, where parasites have gotten in and started eating away at the flesh, you know. And same as with his mouth, because you can even see here that on his cheek, it's almost been eaten away by something, and now his teeth are beginning to be exposed, and it's grim and horrible, but so bloody cool again, honestly. But yeah, now onto the coolest part, the unmasking. So if we try just move out of the way, and we just go dun 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 da 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 da. Oh, look at him, he looks absolutely beautiful. The colour of his face, it's again absolutely amazing. The damage is somewhat consistent with that of the damage seen in part 6, you know, the kind of the one eye missing, the nose being gone, and him only having one eye. And you see, really kind of see here on the face where it's all these lumps and bumps where the flesh is around here, where it's almost like his skin is just clinging to his bone, and he's really in a bad sort of state, you know, like he's rotting away, but for some reason he's still blooming alive. I don't know how, but he somehow is. And, you know, same as for his teeth. He's, like, got quite a lot missing, and they don't really look in too good of a condition, because they're all horrible and browny and yellowy and stuff. Kind of really disgusting looking. His gums all showing, his lips are kind of being munched away, and he's only got a few teeth, which he's, like, not really going to be using anytime soon, because I don't think he tends to eat, though in the second film it's stated that he eats wild animals, but I haven't seen or heard about that in a while, so I guess in this film he doesn't really need them for eating. His eye, though, I don't know why, something about that is just really cool. As you can see there, they've made it really glossy, which is a really nice touch to the figure. Wait, let me just try. Try to focus it, there we go. You can see his eyes are really nice blue, and it's got that really nice sort of glossy look to it, which almost makes it look exactly realistic, like normal eyes would be, kind of glossy with that sort of wet look. Same with that little bit of red just there underneath the eye. Almost look like kind of where that fleshy part by your eye is being exposed. I don't know what it is, but you can see that, and it looks just again amazing, and it's all sunken in, and really I'm just blown away with this figure. It's absolutely amazing. The mask is also being done greatly as well. It's quite a sort of thick material, you can see it, and the straps on this mask are a black elastic material with a grey dry brush. The little rivets on the mask have been done with a sort of silver. And again, it still looks screen accurate, you know, it's got the cut in the mask where Tommy got it in with the propeller in part 6. It's got that dark red chevron, which still looks amazing, and it's just got the sort of almost sort of darkened bone colour like to it, which really looks good. It's, you know, it's a completely different colour to what it was in part 6. It was almost like a sort of mouldy sort of yellow, but in this one, it's the colour, it still kind of has hints of that same colour, but it's really been toned down, almost like the waters have gone onto it and it's been extremely discoloured. Moving over here onto the weapons, we can see that we get a choice of 3 weapons to put into Jason's right hand. A spear gun, an axe, or a machete. And yes, I just removed the machete from his hand because, as you saw, The machete was already in his hand when he came in the box, but I thought I'd just, take it out, just so we can have a look at it. So I'm going to start off by reviewing the machete. So the machete itself it's got a basic handle. That's not a bad thing, because, it's good, because sometimes if it can go too detailed or something, then it won't really, be able to fit into the hand as easily, and that can kind of become an issue. But one perk about it is that, it's detailed, it still looks good. It's got a little, sort of, this almost hilt thing at the bottom. It's got the basic sort of, black handle as you expect. No silver rivet down the, middle, like the latest NECA figures. And, it still looks like the handle of a machete, except it's just a plain, sort of, matte black. But that's okay. Going on to the blade itself, though, that looks fantastic, because it's been done chrome silver, not chrome, matte sort of silver, where you can see there's all these little speckles of brown and sort of other things sort of dashed along it, almost like little speckles of mud or blood or something. Wait, ooh, whoa, just noticed that. That's actually red. I've got a problem with lol. So you can see it's kind of pebble dashed with these little splotches of red, and that obviously where he's been, again, as victims, and he's been kind of, slicing at them and doing other various grisly things. But you can see here, there's also a sort of, a dark sort of brown wash, almost where it's been, this is where, sort of dry blood's been, or say he's been, it's been raining something, and then, of course, there's been blood there, and it's all, sort of started to wash off, and it's just this horrible sort of brown, mark that's just been left over it and almost sort of stained the metal. Another one of Jason's popular weapons of choice, the axe. Now, straight off the bat, we obviously are kind of drawn to the head of the axe, and we can see here that, beforehand, it's gone through quite a lot of damage. I'm not talking about the sculpt itself, but the sort of thing, prop. Because you can see here the head's kind of being worn away, chipped away, probably being used for, cutting up trees, making wood chips and whatnot and such. And we can see that it's your standard sort of, lumberjack. Yeah, we can see it's your standard lumberjack axe with the sort of red hair. It's I don't know what, even though it's kind of it's paint, I really like how they've made it almost look like someone else has painted it on, and they've gone, may as well just do this, bada bing bada boom, it's the axe, let's sell it. But something else I really like about it is also the discoloration from the main metal here and the silver here. I don't know whether that's standard with all axes, or whether that's just because of how it's being used, and you can kind of, see that there's been quite a bit of discoloration where the paint has worn off and come away as it's been used, say, to hack into trees and such. Another little feature that I quite like is over here you can see scratches and indents on the metal, which is just, standard with a lot of things. You get scuffs and a lot of other sort of little horrible, marks and such. And also, but then you come onto here, and in these sort of scratches where it's been used, it's been painted in with a dark red, which I really like, almost so he's been killing people with it, and the blood's gone and stuck in. I think that's honestly such a nice touch, and it's, again, the figure itself, it just looks absolutely amazing. And see here, it's not all just the same thing. They've done little individual ones, almost like they've and there is too. It's almost like they've kind of tried to go for a random sort of thing. And on the paint there you can see some scuff marks. I don't know if that's from the previous owner or from the thing itself. Ooh, new high definition camera, boys. That's so cool. Oh, by the way, yeah, I'm filming this on a new iPad, which I got for Christmas, so hopefully the camera quality comes out better than the ones I was recording on my older iPad. Anyway, going on to the handle. My god, is this a beauty. As you can see here, it's got, a usual sort of curved handle that you'd expect to come with an axe, and it looks absolutely fantastic. You can see here that it's got all these little grooves and indents, just like real wood. as you'd expect to see on an axe, and it looks bloody brilliant. It genuinely looks like the real thing that you'd see in real life, especially with this little curved handle at the end. And I love what they've done. They've sculpted it in a dark brown and gone over it with a few other washes of light brown and a darker brown, and it really just adds to that sort of genuine wood sort of feel. And it's just an amazing piece to have, and I'm very glad that NECA sculpted that and made it with the figure. The third and final weapon that this figure comes with, and that Jason decides to use in this film, is the Harpoon Gun. Now, you may be saying, hang on, this doesn't look like a harpoon gun, it's not like the one seen in part 3. Well, I'll tell you how it works. I can really say much, but I only just realised this. But the kind of point of this, I don't think it functions, and this is purely for decorative purposes, but how this thing would work is you have this string here, and so what you do, you'd be holding this, of course, you'd be aiming it at wherever you want it to go, and then you'd pull this string quite violently, so you tug it back, and then the spearhead up here would shoot off. But anyway, getting into the actual thing, again, they've done the same woodwork thing as they've done on the axe, and it looks fantastic. Of course, there's not much to see here, as it's a relatively unused thing. It's not something that you use in day-to-day life, unless you're, I guess, quite a large sort of fish hunter, maybe going out hunting large sort of fish, maybe some sharks, not all, because, hunting all the sharks would be a bit of a death wish, to be honest, because you wouldn't want to be going out day-to-day and hunting great whites. But still, it looks bloody-tastic, and you can see they've gently gone over it with a sort of dry brushing of dark brown, just so it fills in all these little rivets and, kind of crevices in the wood where you'd expect to see them, and it kind of brings them out and highlights them, so it's not just your usual moulded piece of plastic like you'd see on some other figures, perhaps ones from McFarlane. But the string, it doesn't really have too much done to it, but that's perfectly fine because, it'd probably be quite hard to get a good paint on string, and it would either look too splotchy, or it would just ruin the thing as a whole. And that's fine. Coming on to the spearhead, well, that's got quite a nice sculpt. I like how it looks unique, and it looks very different to the one that I got my part 3 figure from quite a while ago, I believe 2018. Been in L2 years ago I got that thing. Crikey. But, it's lost focus. There we go. You can see it's been kind of done in this dark sort of black metal, almost like that on the chains, and it looks amazing. Again, it looks spot on to what you'd sort of expect to see. It's this dark sort of metal with all silver coming through, where it's been worn and kind of scratched off, and oxidization's happening, especially along these sort of lines here, and say where someone might have used it, it's got all scratches on the side, and it just looks absolutely amazing. So guys, that will do it for the Part 7 Deluxe 18-inch NECA Motion Activated Sound, Part 7, The New Blood, Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees action figure. God, it gets harder to say every single blimmin' time. There's probably going to be a lot of outtakes. But that will wrap it up for this one, and this is an absolutely amazing figure. If you are able to buy this one ever, then I would definitely recommend it. And if you're a horror fan, or just a Friday the 13th fan, or just, want some cool figures in general, then this is definitely one to add to your collection. If you're able to buy it, do not miss it out. You'll love it. I promise you that. The detail on it is absolutely amazing. It's so bloody cool. It's just, everything about it is spot on. The detail, the masks, the everything, just, they've perfectly managed to capture this film's variant of Jason's essence perfectly. I don't know how they did it, but they just absolutely hit the nail on the head. I've loved reviewing this figure. It's been an absolute blast. But stay tuned, guys. There'll be more reviews on the way. More Jason figures, more awesomeness. See you guys next time.